Get your coffees out. There's no coffee in it because I had a coffee before. I had an iced coffee before. Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. This video title is a little bit controversial, so it would mean so much to me if you would like the video so that it can become something that other women will find. We are doing a coffee and chat video because I had this video planned for quite a few weeks. However, I did not finalize all the details, so we are going to talk friend to friend over some coffee. If you're not a coffee drinker, grab some tea or some water and have a seat and listen to this video. Today's topic is how I serve my husband. Now, serve, I really struggled with wanting to use this term for the title of the video. The reason is because serve, as you know, has such a negative connotation in our society today. But I decided that I would still use the term serve because I think that it is applicable in all of the relationships that we have. Our relationships to our friends, our relationships to those we interact with at our job, our hobbies, and of course with God. Just because you're a wife doesn't exempt your husband from also serving you. This also doesn't mean that your relationship with your husband is the only relationship where you practice servitude. I want you to rethink the word serve as perhaps positive giving. This is often associated with sacrificing ourselves, with a form of slavery. This is what society tends to define the term as. But for me, it has to do with consciously making the decision to put effort into the interactions that I have with others, to put thought in the things that make them happy, and to do the best of my ability to put their wants and desires as a pinnacle in my life. This doesn't mean that I sacrifice my well-being. This doesn't mean that I give up a part of myself. This simply means that I make the decision to better the life of somebody else. The things that I'm going to mention in my video are things that I try to do to make my relationship better. I would love to hear about the things that you do or would like to do for your spouse in the comment section down below. So without further ado, let's get into the ways that I serve my husband. Number one is I do not criticize him. So we as women, perhaps this is a stereotype, but for me at least, I found that I tend to want to vent to other people, and that is what makes me feel better. But when you are cultivating a long-term relationship with somebody, even if that is perhaps your friend or your family member, you are going to want to refrain from venting to other people about your problems. Because after a while, this may deteriorate the trust that you have in that relationship. The second thing is I practice active listening. I used to be a multitasker who would listen and do something else at the same time. I found that at least in my relationship, when I did this, it was especially difficult for my husband to recognize that I was listening to him. He thought I was more preoccupied with doing something else than I was with listening to him. You can find my video, one of my first videos on good conversation, linked above and down below, where I mention some of the verbal and non-verbal cues that you can learn in conversation. The way that I actually learned how to have better conversations was by implementing these practices in my marital relationship before applying these to my other relationships. Speaking of good conversation, I also try to practice asking my husband about his job. So his job, I don't really understand all the workings of it. I feel that any type of job that your spouse could have, it's hard for you to understand everything that goes on because you aren't the person doing the job. The way that I show, or I try to show, and this is still a work in progress, that I care about his job is by taking note of some of the things that he has said and bringing them in conversation again. Let me give you an example. My husband is in construction and real estate, and I will try to take note of a project that he's talking about, and then a few days later, instead of asking, how was your day at work? I will ask him, how is that house going? Or what are the progresses on that house? Did that client finally make up their mind about what they wanted for the vanity? This is just a simple example, but using specific concrete things will show the person that you are paying attention on a continual basis. The next way, and this is just my personality, so it was really a work in progress for me, was that I learned to manage my finances. Now, being married young, getting married young, like I said, I was really thrown into adulthood, and that was my choice, and I wouldn't have it any other way. However, I did not have that many money skills simply because I hadn't lived a lot of my life. So I picked up some financial books. I learned how to make a budget. I learned how to save money. I learned concepts of minimalism, what I can do with and what I can do without. And as our income grew as a couple, I still maintained those habits that helped us survive in the early days of my marriage. Now, even if you are a working woman and you make the higher income, I still think that it is a sign of respect by learning how to manage your finances. Now, coming back to the example of servitude, all of these things that I have mentioned to you are conscious thought processes and decisions that I made to be more considerate of the other person. The next thing I'm going to talk to you about is choosing homemaking tasks that matter to my spouse. So for me, if I had it my way, my homemaking tasks would be to always have clean sheets. I change my sheets a lot just because I love that hotel feeling of clean sheets, but those are the things that matter to my husband. And this isn't saying that I shouldn't do those things that matter to me, but I try to make an effort to make those things happen that also matter for him. He really enjoys having his clean clothes every single day, so I make the effort to do that. Now, some of you watching this who may not be familiar with my channel might perhaps think that this is a sexist thing, but this does not mean that your husband cannot do household chores and that you are stuck doing all the household chores. Your dynamic in your relationships is however you decide it to be. Now, the next point, which I actually want to make a video on, and if you are interested in it, let me know, is how to argue constructively. So I am the type of person that really turtles in an argument. So what does that mean? I am the type of person that is very non-confrontational, and I hate arguments. But I had to learn to argue constructively because, like I stated, in any type of relationship, you are going to probably have some times where your views are opposing. Arguing constructively for me meant that I had to actually listen, try not to turtle, and ask for specific things that I could do to better the situation. So I could talk on and on and on about some of the things, but I wanted to try to make this video as brief as possible because I know whether you work outside of the home or inside of the home, you are probably very busy. So the last point that I want to bring up is that I give the courtesy to my spouse of informing them of my schedule. Now, in today's modern society, we tend to think that we don't owe it to anybody to tell them where we are going or what we are doing because we think that this is a breach on our independence. I don't think that you should necessarily stop going anywhere because you are in a long-term committed relationship. However, providing the courtesy to that person of telling them what you are doing, or perhaps what events are going on, or what you would like to do in the upcoming days, is a way to stay on the same page, and it is kind of a nice action that not many people do anymore. This will also make it so much easier to plan time together, because you will know how the day looks for that other person. And just because you are doing this doesn't exempt your spouse from also giving you that same courtesy. Both of you can sit down and talk about your schedules. Now, for me, my husband's job is all over the place because he owns his own business, so I communicate most of the time through text message when it comes with scheduling, because when we talk to each other about what we are doing through text message, we have it written down and we know what the other person is doing, and we won't tend to forget. If your spouse or you have children have a more consistent job schedule, I've heard of people who take Sunday night to plan out their week together, and if that is possible for you, I think that is a wonderful idea. I'm just saying, for me, it's not really possible because my husband's schedule is all over the place. However, make sure that you try to write things down. So don't forget to like this video, simply because the title of this video might not sit well with some people. And also, please, if you could leave me a comment and let me know the things that you do for your spouse, for your husband, or if you are a man watching this, you can also let me know what you do for your wife. I think it would be some good ideas for other men who perhaps watch the channel. I don't think many do, but I don't want to tell you not to comment because I love all comments. Anyway, I look forward to seeing you all again soon. I love you all so much. Oh, I forgot to mention, Monday is my husband and I's anniversary, which is what prompted me to do this video. I'm hoping to get another type of relationship and marriage video up as soon as possible. I have a few more videos planned. I am filming from my garage, believe it or not, because I actually have some exciting news that I could perhaps share with you in the upcoming weeks. Don't forget to watch my videos, and I love you all again. Bye-bye.